Hey guys, AJ Hazy here, and welcome back to the Vantage Report. It is the 1st of January at the time of recording, so Happy New Year, everybody. I am excited for the 2024 real estate year. Another year of ups, downs, curveballs from the government, everything in between. It makes it a lot of fun to try to navigate, and it's my pleasure to be your eyes and ears in the marketplace and help you guys see between the lines, break down what's happening, and make really intelligent moves when it comes to your real estate. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in 2023. Then we're going to roll right into 2024. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball, but I'm going to share with you some of the things that I see shaping up and influencing our market into 2024. And ultimately, what does that mean to you, whether you're buying, selling, investing, or even thinking about just staying in the rental market? So we're going to break all of that down, so stay tuned. And at the end, we're going to share with you what the next steps would be if you are interested in game planning, what you might want to do with your real estate in 2024. So without further ado, let's get into a quick recap of 2023. Starting with sales, we saw a really slow year, the slowest that we've seen for the last, say, 7 or 8 years, just below 4,000 total sales. Now, for context, last year was well over 5,000. And if you go back to, say, 2021, when things were really moving after the whole post-pandemic pent-up demand, we were well north of 8,000 sales at that time. So things have really slowed down. And that has really been driven by the interest rates. There's a lot of buyers on the sidelines because they, of course, are not able to afford the house that they would want. There are a lot of sellers that would like to move on, but they actually don't qualify for the home they're in, let alone the one they want to go to next. So as a consequence, the way the rates have gone up, it has actually kind of really just log jammed the market. And so that's what we saw this year. We saw a massive decrease in overall sales. And we started the year off with a kind of a composite, which is sort of all of the properties blended, price of about $761,000. And then when they actually stopped cranking up the rates in the spring, there was a rate pause. We saw that the market really kind of broke loose for a bit there and things picked up. And we had both sales increasing through the spring as well as prices. We saw the prices actually get up over 800,000 to about 830,000. And then they went back on the gas when it came to the rates. And of course, we saw the sales slow down and we saw prices come right back down to about 770,000. So, a lot of hoopla for really kind of ending up where we started. All right, so rapid fire on the 2023 stats. There's nothing that's really dramatic about any of this. We saw sales come down by about 17%, which we definitely felt towards the second half of the year. Sales ground to almost 200 sales a month for the last 3 or 4 months. That's really slow in a market where you have over 1,000 real estate agents and a whole bunch of people just kind of waiting and watching to see what happens next. The overall inventory numbers are up around 2,300, whereas the same time last year we were at 1,500. So that's nearly a 50% swing in additional available inventory, and that has translated to 10 months of active supply, whereas the same time last year we were at 8 months of supply. And we've been kind of treading water at that 10 months of supply level now for the last few months. And actually that's where we started in January of 2023, which was right at that sort of 10 months, which is very much a buyer's market. There's downward pressure on price. We're seeing great opportunity for those that are willing to take a gamble and buy real estate during an uncertain time. And I think that there's kind of a renewed sense of optimism now about where the rates are going in the spring. I think people are starting to get the message that you marry the price and you date the rate. And most people are taking a variable rate mortgage and just hedging that they're only going to have to pay rates in the high 5s or 6s for a handful of months more before things probably come back down into the 4s, where they've now got themselves a great deal and an interest rate that is that's palatable going forward. Still takes about 42 days to sell a home. Same time last year we were at 41 days, so no major change there. Still about 3% is the average negotiation, so no massive change there either. So homes are selling for about the same amount of money, same amount of discounting, and the same amount of time. So in terms of the the speed of the market and all of that, very similar to the way things set up the same time last year. The luxury sector slowed down quite a bit as well. The sales over 2 million down 40% year over year. Sales over 3 million down roughly 30%. And so, we definitely saw that the luxury market was not impervious to the downturn. Now, as far as condos versus townhomes versus single family, all three of these property types kind of ended up on a flat line throughout the year. If you were to sort of graph it where it started to where it ended, with single family actually making some slight gains, condos were totally flat, and townhomes made some slight gains. So, it's anybody's guess as to what it's going to do next year. And with that, let's discuss the 2024 year and what that has in store. Now, there's lots of people pontificating right now. Some people will tell you that the sky is falling and, get ready for the big market crash of 2024. But of course, they've been saying that, every single year since the beginning of time. And really what you want to look at are what are the setups? What's the influencing factor? What's the driving factors going into a fresh year? We know right now everything is sort of driven by interest rates. It's also driven by the available inventory. Now, there's some pretty broad sweeping policy changes that are happening at the federal level, the provincial level especially, and now even at the municipal level that are going to influence the supply. And certainly that's their intent. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. You see, this is very nuanced. Let's start with the Airbnb ban, for example. They're attempting to create over 100,000 new rental units by banning short-term rentals. Now, let's look at Kelowna, for example. Now, there's buildings that were purpose-built for this, like Discovery Bay and Playa del Sol. Investors have bought and ran businesses in these buildings now for the better part of 2 decades. Now, what happens when they're no longer allowed to do that? Is it automatic that they turn them into long-term rentals? Well, when you're faced with the fact that a lot of these people have bought at a significant premium based on that building allowing this type of activity to take place, that means they have large mortgages, and large mortgages that now have high interest on them. And we're in a rental market that is actually quite soft at the moment. Certainly there's downward pressure on rents, not the other way around. And so will these folks that have maybe owned these units for a number of years put themselves into a negative cash flow situations going forward so that they can help the rental supply of the local area? Or what's more likely, in my opinion, they'll put the property on the market, try to achieve a sale price that nets them a small capital gain or at least breaks them even, and they'll move on. But who will buy it? Will it be another investor who's looking to put someone in there for an affordable rental? No, it's unlikely. Now it'll likely be somebody who would have loved to have lived in that building but didn't want to live in and amongst a bunch of people who were doing vacations or didn't want to pay the premium. So the prices in there will soften down to what typical end user condos sell for on a price per square foot basis, and they'll move in and enjoy living either on the lake or across the street from the El Dorado, and life will continue. That doesn't improve the rental market or the amount of supply on the rental market, which was the government's intent with that. Now, the next sort of broad policy change was the provincial government has now told the municipalities that you no longer need to go through a zoning change to be able to do multifamily on single family. They've essentially done away with single family zoning so as to allow for fourplexes, sixplexes, duplexes on all of these city lots. So what will happen then? Will there be a number of affordable duplexes and fourplexes and sixplexes being built? It's hard to say. If I put my developer hat on for a second, it's hard to make these projects pencil out. It's even when you're buying properties with the ability to put 24 or 40 or 50 townhouses on them, you're getting economies of scale typically where you're buying these properties maybe at $100,000 or $150,000 per door. You're not going to achieve that kind of pricing on an infill lot. Buying a house for $1 million that can do a fourplex or a sixplex on it is not going to get you better unit economics than what some of these larger projects can do. And these larger projects are not selling. Developers have tons of choice right now, and unless projects are really, really razor sharp on their pricing on the land side, it's a no-go. In fact, we're seeing a number of developers like Mission Group table and shelf their projects that they've owned this land for a number of years, and they can't make it work. We're seeing the same thing in Vancouver. Even if developers got free land in Vancouver, they wouldn't be able to make it work, and that's because carrying costs are extremely high. There's an extreme construction premium right now. It costs a lot to get something built. And on the other side, you're faced with the fact that the rental market's soft and the condo market's soft. And so that doesn't give a lot of hope to developers for taking that amount of risk. And so, no, I don't think we're going to see in the short run a whole bunch of new product being built to fill that need. So again, very nuanced year it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. There will be little pockets of the market where opportunity exists. There's going to be little oversupplies in some places for sure, and I think this will be an opportune year to pick up some deals if you know what you're looking for. There's definitely going to be opportunity in the air. But if we zoom out and we just think on a macro level, what's going to happen this year? Well, I think we'll see sales will increase. We're going to definitely see a lot more than 4,000 sales like we saw last year. And that's because we're going to unlock people based on the interest rates. You're going to have buyers off the sidelines now when interest rates come back down into the fours. You'll have sellers that are not scared to move on because they don't want to give up their low interest rate. And so we're going to see that play out. It's going to kind of get this log jam unjammed, if you will. Now, the other thing that's going to play out this year is there's going to be a whole bunch of mortgages come due. And so what will the rate be? The average outstanding mortgage right now is still in the twos. And we've only seen about 1/3 of the mortgage resets, which means 2/3 of people have not felt the rate change yet. So what will we see? Will we see a number of people forced to sell their home? Will we see foreclosures? I don't think so. I think right now the default rate in Canada is very, very low. People have a lot of equity in their homes, and I just don't see a lot of foreclosures coming down the pike. But I do see people, when they go to kind of consider their options when their mortgages come due, and about 1/3 of Canadians will be in that boat in 2024, that they're going to have to make a decision. Do I refinance at, say, 4.5%? Do I extend my amortization? Or do I just sell this property? And I think a lot of people are going to choose the latter, which will increase the supply. And I think the demand will be there. The demand will be there to absorb most of that supply. So I think overall, we're just going to see more activity, which is really good for the economy. When hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate is selling each month, that trickles into local business. It stimulates a number of things in our local economy. And so that's very, very good. Not just good for realtors and mortgage brokers. It's good for the guys that own the furniture stores, and it's good for contractors. It's good for literally hundreds of businesses that come to and from the sale of real estate. There's a lot of money that changes hands, and a lot of contractors and service providers that make their living and feed their family on these sales. So I think that's great. We're going to see, I think, some renewed confidence and return to the market. But as far as prices are concerned, my bet is that we don't see prices going up by leaps and bounds the way we did sort of last spring when the rates paused. I think that potentially the deals might sort of dry up. There might not be as much opportunity once demand picks up. I think it's possible that prices will move up slightly, like single digits, not crazy double digits. But in my opinion, we're going to see just a more robust year, more things moving, and probably a little bit of a return to normalcy. This last year has been kind of crazy. And to be fair, it'll be crazy to watch this stuff, the Airbnb ban and these new zoning bylaws get sort of worked out over the next 6 months or so. But again, I don't think it's going to be enough to send the market into any kind of tailspin. And I think we're going to just see just a overall more robust real estate year. And there's going to be opportunity for people who are buying in the right sector. There's going to be opportunity for people who have been waiting to sell their home to be able to achieve a better price. So what does this ultimately mean to you? Well, if you're buying and you've got your sort of finger on the trigger right now, if you will, I believe your best buying opportunity is actually before the first rate change. So that's happening in March. I'd be looking to get on the gas and make a purchase decision before then. I think you're going to get the best price and have the best negotiating position for the foreseeable future in the first quarter of this year. Now, if you're selling, I think that March, April is going to be great. I think that if you need to sell right now, there's ways that you can sort of price in some of the optimism that's coming, but you do need to be razor sharp on your price. I think you're going to find that people are more receptive to your listing this year than they would have been last year, but expect buyers to still be price sensitive and looking to cut a deal, whether it's price or terms. Buyers are still somewhat in the driver's seat for the foreseeable future. Will it shift back into a balanced market midway through the year? My hunch says yes. I don't think we go back to a full-blown seller's market, but I think we go back into a balanced market come May, come June. Those are going to be some months where we go back into sort of 5-6 months of inventory, if I had to guess, and we just see a really nice even tempo where the balance of power is kind of in the middle. And so there you have it, guys. That's my bet for 2024. I know it's not wildly shocking. There's no major headline in there. Maybe it seems like I'm hedging my bets a bit with what I'm saying, but no one has a crystal ball. My gut, after reading all of the economic factors and indicators, is it's a better year than last year, but it's not going to be setting any records. It's just going to be a good, steady year. So if you are thinking of buying or selling, we'd love to invite you to do a game plan call with us. This is where we sit down, ask you a number of questions to try to really understand your goals, and then we can help you create a strategic plan to make the best possible move you can in real estate in the coming year. So thanks so much for watching, guys. And if you're interested to see what homes are out there, you can start that process right here on the blog. And if you're curious what your home would fetch in today's market, we've got a really great new tool. It's called Honest Door, and it can give you an online, over-the-net market evaluation better than anyone we've seen in 20 years of searching for a tool like this. So if you're interested in that as well, you can start that process right here on the blog. Thanks again, guys, and watch out for our podcast, AJ Unfiltered. Really excited to launch that to the market as well. So big year, lots of content. You can count on me to be your eyes and ears. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.